Okay folks, welcome. This is the situation at the end of the first turn in this playthrough of Ardennes 44. We are at the end of turn 1, the 16th of December AM turn. So each day is divided into two turns, an AM and a PM, and then a night turn. So we're halfway through this first day, and I think things are going well for the Germans. It's really hard to say, having never played this before, but everything seems to be going to plan. They are getting the good rolls when they want them. They're getting the bad rolls when they can afford them, which is a good story, I guess. If you roll the dice 6 times and you get 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 3, 1, 4, 1, 5, 1, 6, and so forth. The Germans are getting the 6s when they can afford to, and they're getting the 1s when they really need it. So a few of these combats have been 3-to-1 odds, and that's when they've rolled those critical ones. The one time they did roll a 6 in combat, and again the attacker wants to roll low. The one time the Germans rolled a 6, it was when they had 6-to-1 odds, so they could afford to roll high, and they still got a beneficial combat result. So as a result, I think all of the combats have gone well for the Germans. There was really only one adverse combat result, and it was way out in the south down here. There was an engage result. That's really not what the Germans want. They want to force these retreats or force these defender losses. So there's one engage result over here. They did get a firefight result. I'm trying to remember where that was. It's either, they get a choice. It's either, let me double check the CRT, FF. So the attacker can either take an engage result or immediately roll again on the firefight table. The Germans chose to roll again on that firefight table. So they didn't get a good roll in the CRT odds roll. But then they decided to roll on the firefight, and they rolled a 1 in that firefight, which causes a D1 result, which is perfect for them. And as a result, they are pushing through quite nicely. This is after both turns, situation at the end of the American turn. So the Americans have responded to these German advances. But here's what's happening. Way out here in the south, the line's pretty static. The Germans have crossed the river. We do have 2 American armoured combat commands out here. They start sort of around this area here, and they've shifted around to the centre, which I'll show you those in a moment. You'll notice some of the Germans are rotated. I'm doing this as I move these units, so I rotate them to show they've moved, then I rotate them again to show that they've participated in combat. What this basically means, well, I think they have moved, but yeah, any unit that is now 90 degrees both moved and fought. You notice those traffic markers. These are the American traffic markers. The Americans place this on the first turn. The Germans don't get those until until the 17th of December. The big German victories were in this area covered by the camera now. So they had a lot of success around here. They cleared out the Americans around Hosingen and Marnik. Force them back. Big gap here, but there's no road. So there's a roadblock marker here. There's potential for advance along here. Not many American units in this area. These Americans are blocking the roads through Clairvaux. This is the armoured unit here, and the infantry just blocking those 2 bridges across the Clairvaux River. Here are those American armoured units. They have shifted along using strategic movement to, as rapidly as possible, get to the centre here. So they're kind of sacrificing a bit of give way out on their flank to blunt sort of the potential for German advance through this centre. Somehow the Americans know that this is where the Germans are heading. You will notice an out of supply marker here. They received an airdrop, so they passed their isolation. They're also isolated, surrounded by ZOC hexide bonds. So they're isolated, and they passed their surrender check. This group way down the south rolled a 5, so they add 1 surrender point to their out of supply isolated, because the Germans have conveniently established a nice ZOC frontline bond, which isolates those American units behind the line. A lot of combat success in this area around here. Some eliminations. There are, at present, 4 American small infantry units eliminated. But those 4 units, again, it's hard to know if this is the norm, average, but I get the sense that it's good. Just in the way things really opened up, the way combat went. The Germans certainly benefited most from those combat results. So they've opened up a gap around here. This the Americans, this is a big, strong defensive infantry unit here. They've pulled back behind the river towards Berg-Ruland here. That was the role for isolation, and that was the role for isolation there. The Americans have rallied, or rather begun to reorganize, and you can see them kind of trying to occupy key crossroads, choke points. You can see the Cav recon unit has moved into Saint-Vith. The red placement units, a lot of them out here on the right, cannot move on the first turn, so they are at the present stationary. Not a lot of activity down here around Elsenborn Ridge, but the Germans have just chipped off the edge of this American defensive position, which facilitates the first. It will facilitate the first SS division moving along this road through to Andler and the crossroads here, and then on in various directions. So what are the German plans for the future? Okay, they want to continue as planned. Clear out this road here and these 2 units. This is artillery and infantry. Clear out, if possible. What they've done here is they've kind of surrounded, using alternate roads to surround these very tough defensive units here. So they may just bypass them if possible. Ideally, they'd love to capture some V. That would, let them drive through this corridor. And they need to do that before these Americans activate on the second turn. So what we're really looking for here is not just German movement, good German combat, but breakthrough combat and a good bonus advance to let them kind of really drive through. If they can kind of get to Krombach, Beho. I don't know how practical this is. I'll need to kind of do the maths. Certainly they can cross some of these bridges that are intact. There's no bridge blowing on the first or second turn. A lot of the artillery used, you can see all that artillery fired, but relatively quiet again out here. You can notice these prime movers here. I'm moving some of these artillery pieces just around, because the Germans are keeping things pretty quiet out here near Monschau and Elsenborn Ridge. So I think it's fair to say a good first turn for the Germans, and we'll see if they can follow that up with the second turn, which is the 16th of December PM turn, and I may run through the night turn as well just to see how things go.